What's up guys, welcome back. TCG Metagame Breakdown for June 12/13, 2018. So let's take a look. You know, the current TCG format is pretty much shaping up towards to one of the biggest tournaments, right, being the World Championship. I believe it's in Japan again this year. Again, feel free to correct me. But anyway, past weekend we've had a couple of nationals, a couple of World Championship qualifiers. We've had one here in Europe, here in Italy. I believe we had one in Germany. One of those, at least both nationals are probably like the biggest nationals here in Europe, if I'm not mistaken. We also had like the World Championship qualifier in New Zealand, Oceania. So let's take a look at that one. I believe the finalists, both finalists of the Oceanic World Championship qualifier will move on to Worlds, while we here in Europe still have the European Championship within the next couple of weeks, and I believe they're the top 2 players, again also will be going to Worlds. And of course, yeah, in America, the Central American World Championship qualifier was also held. So again, all props to, like always, Ready for Duel, Card Launcher Store, for again all the lists, and of course the original sources, probably like YouTubers with, you know, the putting up the videos as well. Again, if I'm seeing a list, I will definitely try to make the shout out. If I'm forgetting someone or some channel, again, feel free to correct me where I'm mistaken. So let's take a look, at least let's start off with the Central American World Championship qualifier. Again, I think everyone already saw this one on other channels, right? But if we take a look at the breakdown of the World Championship qualifier of Central America, I believe Galileo also topped this event. Well, this is astonishing, and I think we all expected this, right? Sky Striker Tricksters is currently the best deck in the TCG, and a little over 50%, so sitting at 56% from the top 32 breakdown, as you see here, was Sky Striker Tricksters indeed, and well, 60% others. We've had a couple of dinosaur lists, Goki as well, a couple of Altergeist lists, but that's pretty much it, right? No Pendulum Magicians. Here in this case, I think we had one ABC, as you will see in a couple of moments. But again, as I mentioned before, Trickster Sky Striker currently the best deck in the TCG, and it also won the Central American World Championship qualifier. This is the first place list. I don't think anything too spectacular. The one of Ghost Ogre, the one of Effect Failure in the main deck. Some differences between, you know, Ghost Ogre, Ash Blossom can only be activated once per turn, if I'm not mistaken, while Effect Failure doesn't have that restriction. The Heavy Storm Duster, that's an interesting main deck pick. I think this is the only list main decking the Heavy Storm Duster here in the main deck. Well, the Trickster Sky Striker list main decking Heavy Storm Duster. We've seen other lists side decking that card, but again, quite of an interesting pick, and you know, probably could have, at least was an important card, you know, for let him win the entire event eventually. So side decking the triple mind control as well. First place, second place, no big differences, I think. Again, Trickster Sky Striker, a small Sky Striker engine here with, you know, the Engage, the Token Generator, and the Afterburner as well. The Wild Bow also, but again, the traps are super staple, and I'm seeing this trap lineup in most Trickster Sky Striker lists. Triple Reincarnation, triple Impermanence, right? And then, you know, depending on Europe, as you will see in a couple of moments, Mind Crush was quite popular, but yeah, it changes, right? Definitely. As for the rest, main deck in the shared rights, that was definitely different compared to the first place list. Top 4 list, also Trickster Sky Striker here. Yep, Mind Control being in the main deck, but outside of that, yeah, the Reaper, the Ghost Reaper, that's different from the other lists. But from what I've reading online, Reapers are, not too many players are happy that they main decked the Reapers, so not really sure how this player felt about main decking the Cherries. Top 8 of the Central American World Championship qualifier, finally something different. We have ABCs, and it's not Calvin Tahan main decking 44 cards, a couple of the gadgets, green and the gold and silver gadget, right, the ABC engine, of course the bells, the ghost bells, the one of Effect and the Troll unlocks as well. pretty much super staple now with all of the Surge cards. Couple of traps, Trench Tribute, again super popular in ABC lists, right? As for the rest, triple the side deck in the red reboot, okay, that's all good. So yeah, ABC's probably one of those players sneaking in the top cuts, I believe here, yep, indeed the top 8 list, but again, struggling to eventually win the entire thing, right? So that's pretty much it for the Central American World Championship qualifier. And then the first, let's go to New Zealand, Oceania. Eventually, we have first place, the Dragon Duel winner. No surprise again, Trickster Sky Striker, main decking the Solemn Strikes here in the main deck. Same for Called by the Grave, 3 copies here in the main deck as well. So props to this guy. As for the main event, I've only, at least one of the top 8 lists was only revealed from New Zealand. And as you see here, it was Infernoids. Yep. With our most recent TCG list, we know that, you know, Cross Looks Greener is banned, so 60 card decks are pretty much out of the format, right? But still, this particular player managed to end up top 8 with Infernoids and of course Lair of Darkness, but a very small engine, no Lilith by the way, and no what is the other one called? You know, the level 4, I believe, discard Surge the Field spell, you know which one I mean. But still, I don't think you need to run more cards here in your main deck. Double Terraforming to Surge the Field spell, alright, he is running it of course, you know, but no Lilith, that's what I meant. So again, you know, you don't want to main deck more traps, only 2 Void Feast. And I think, again, as I mentioned before, since the reason why I'm mentioning this is that from my previous videos about this deck is that still people are mentioning, man, you should main deck more traps, Lilith to search out Void Feast, but I feel that you're just, you know, making your deck more inconsistent if you're main decking more traps. So there is definitely that engine, right? The field spell giving you the opportunity to tribute your opponent's monsters away. As for the rest, as you're seeing here, it's a link to, you know, the subreddit, so again, feel free to check it out. And let me double check to make sure that I'm correct. Is here the top 4, and this is interesting. Sadly, the 2 lists here are not released yet. Is the top 4 consisted of 2 Trickster Sky Striker, okay, that's not that interesting anymore, but also 2 Magnite Trickster Sky Strikers. So those lists are not yet revealed, and of course the winner was playing one of those lists, right? So Magnite Trickster Sky Striker. I saw on Facebook he eventually will release a list, but you know, the point that I'm making this video, or the moment that I'm making this video, this list is not yet released. So again, if you have the list or it's revealed, just feel free to comment it and I'll, you know, just pin the comment. Then let's go to Europe, the German National Championship, and this was quite cool. You know, one of the most, at least one of the upcoming teams here in Europe, E-Man Games, consisting of 3 players here, ended up top 4, so at least Joshua Schmidt ended up top 4 from E-Man Games. We had Jonas here completely on the left, and in the middle we have Typhoon, I believe his name is pronounced. I believe Typhoon also, and correct me if I'm wrong, he ended up, was it top 8 or top 4 at Bochum, YCS Bochum, a couple of months ago with Zephyros. So quite of a familiar name, and he eventually also won one of the biggest nationals, at least from this year, the German National Championship, ending up first place, also with, correct me if I'm wrong, Trickster Sky Striker here. Props to E-Man Games for this particular list, right? But again, nothing too spectacular, though, yeah, main decking the triple Called by the Grave. But again, outside of that, nothing too different. So Typhoon, yep. You might also remember him from a couple of years ago at YCS Rimini, where Cosmos won. You know, I believe he lost the finals with a huge brick game 3 with, you know, opening multiple field spell, multiple Sky Iris and multiple terraforming, and he eventually scooped his hand first turn, right, after seeing his hand. So you might remember him from there. Second place we had Jonas, also pretty much main decking, pretty much the same deck. You know, it's pretty much Trickster Sky Striker, right, but a couple of differences, but still pretty much the same list. Joshua's list, on the other hand, main decking, and this was interesting, triple Mind Control, playing pretty much a pure Sky Striker list with the one of Diablos, but again, the triple Mind Control definitely was super interesting for me. So definitely get back those Mind Controls, right, either in the side deck, put them in the side deck, or in your main deck. Okay, that's it for the German Nationals, and last but not least, let's take a look at the Italian National Championship. Not really sure how many players participated in this event. I think I saw Marcello Barberi also topping the event, but eventually it was Collins. I'm not going to pronounce Amik Hambe, I believe his first name is. Again, my apologies if I mispronounce his name. You might remember him, and I personally remember him from, I believe he ended up, was it top 8 or top 4 at YCS Prague a couple of years ago with Cosmos. At least that's where I'm remembering him from. So for me, a familiar face, ending up first place at the Italian National Championship, main necking a lot of hand traps, the Troll, Lockbird, Ash Blossom, the Gammas as well, but again, yeah, it's Trickster Sky Strikers, right? What more can we say? So yeah, that's pretty much it for the TCG Metagame Breakdown. Euros will be in the next couple of weeks, so I think everyone here in Europe is super ready for it. Preparation, yeah, taking a lot of you know, test duels, etc. to prepare themselves for Euros. So all the sources will be in the video description, and like always guys, thanks for watching, and feel free to leave a comment or a like if you enjoyed the video. Lithium signing out. Peace.